and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. You're happy and you know it. You really want to show that you're happy and you know it. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. Alrighty. So, how many of us are happy to be here this evening as the session has started? Yeah, the session has started this
So how
evening,
many of us are happy to be
and
here this evening?
it's my pleasure to be here again to serve you. And if you are yet to be here, you want to quickly check up on your, I mean, if you are yet to come up on board, you want to do that quickly. And as you come up on board, let us know where you are streaming from. And as soon as you also come up on board, kindly call your friends, your well wishers, tell them to quickly come, come, come. Something important is happening this evening. And it is something very important, very interesting, a good topic at that, and that is loving your child unconditionally. Yeah, yeah. Now, I know it's very easy to love a child that is prim and proper, a child that is obedient, a child that will not give you stress, a child that when you say sit down here, you meet that child there. It's like a child that when you say give an instruction, that child is not just going to say, but why? But when you now have a child that will query everything you say, then it's more work for you as the parent. When you have a difficult child or you have a strong-willed child, then it's very difficult. Yes, I understand. And this is one of the reasons why we take time to also teach us about understanding the personality type of your child, understanding who they are, knowing who they are in their strengths and weaknesses, and how you can use that understanding to relate with them. Because parenting is first of all about you. When you have that understanding, then you're going to use your own personality to understanding you have with the personality of your child. This is why we're talking about this topic this evening, loving your child unconditionally. You know, when we talk of unconditional love, that's like the agape love that Christ showed to us. That love that whether we are good or not, God did not change his status. Whether we are good or not, God has never been changed from God to any other bad thing. His good nature remains his nature. He's ever faithful, even when we are not faithful. All right, that's that kind of love that loves us anyhow it is. Love that will go all the way, love that is sacrificial, love that is giving, love that goes all the way just to make sure that your best interest is what is seen. And this is what we're talking about this evening. You know, it's very hard for you to go all the way, making sure that your child becomes who the child should really become in destiny. But it's also doable. And how that will be is when you truly love your child unconditionally. So you don't begin to wish for a kind of child you wish to have. Already you need to understand the child you have and parent that child unconditionally by loving that child unconditionally. Because if you do not love and appreciate the kind of child you have, and you just sit down praying and wishing you have a person that will just obey instructions and will not ask you why 100 times, or will not ask you to know the why, the how, the and everything, then you want to move by doing the needful. What should you do? Learn to love unconditionally. Everyone loves naturally. There is that tendency for us as human beings to love, and we are created with that love nature of God inside of us. But based on significant emotional experiences we've had growing up and based on upbringing, some of us, our love life has been battered and shattered. And it makes us to now see life in a different view. Nonetheless, you want to work on yourself so you can do the needful. And what's that needful? Learning to love again, learning to love again, learning to love again. There's no perfect place to learn love than from God. The scripture makes us know that God is love and love is God. Whoever loves not does not know God. So if you claim you know God, then it must be seen by how you love your child, love somebody close to you, love your neighbor, love everyone around you. And you see, it's really, if it's a love that is conditional, like you do me good, I do you good kind of love, then it might actually be easy to do. But then, if not, it's very hard. But you see, there is a love that is unconditional. it's also possible for you to learn these skills. And so this is why we're talking about this today. Because if your child will turn out well, you need to understand this love unconditional that we're talking about. And in the month of June, I've actually looked at loving your child more in the academy, Caris Parenting Academy this month. We have tailored all of our daily connection tool around showing love to your child in various dimensions, understanding the love language of your child, speaking that love language of your child, and consistently speaking it so that you can have the heart of your child brought to you. And when once this is done, your job becomes very easy. Now, so what is unconditional love? You see that love that accepts someone, that supports fully, not partially. That love that is not judgmental, that love that is not expecting something in returns for doing whatever he or she wants to do. That is what we call unconditional love. So unconditional love in the context of parenting is to say whether my child obeys my instruction or not, whether my child listens to my advice or not, whether my child is going to do all that I've said they should do today about all the house chores and every other assignment they have to do, whether or not they do it, then I still will love them. And I said something. The best way to love your child is to learn from how God loves us. There is no perfect place to learn love than from God Himself, because it is that love that give and not expecting anything in returns. Because we actually cannot pay back His love for what He has given to us. He gave us His Son. We cannot pay back His Son for that great work He has done. But it's actually very possible for you to reciprocate that love. But Christ was not even, I mean, God did not even choose to allow His Son to die so that we can give Him something in return. He doesn't need your money, He doesn't need your affluence, He doesn't need anything that you've got. But then what does He want? Your heart. And so there is the way you can parent the heart of your child, and that way is for you to learn to love your child unconditionally. The same way God asks, "My son, give me your heart." That's the same way you can also get the heart of your child when you choose to love unconditionally. So this unconditional love is actually a continuous process. It's not one thing you do one time and stop. It's not one thing you do two times and stop. It's not one thing you do in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a few months and then stop. No, it is something you do continuously. It is not just a one-off show of love, like, oh, you mean you came out first in class? Wow, I love you. And then you take the child to eatery, buy everything, go to groceries, buy all the Bibles, in fact, change the wardrobe and do all of that. That is conditional because your child have met a criteria, so you want to pay back. How about if the child comes back home with a woeful result? How would you respond? Actually, it's going to be painful, but you want to allow your child to learn from that experience, and don't take the shame of your child for him or for her. You want to allow your child to learn from every experience of life that they pass through, for them to know that every failure is a feedback. And the fact that you fail could mean that it's your first attempt in learning. So you have first of all learned the way not to do something in another time. But if you always want your child, project your child to always want to pass, always want to succeed, at the end of the day, when your child does not succeed, one thing that will happen is that you then tilt to the end of loving your child conditionally. But the best way is to begin to learn how to love your child unconditionally. Now, let's see 10 ways that you can show this unconditional love. 10 ways you can show this unconditional love. And the first of it is acceptance. Do you accept the kind of child you have? Some parents have a child that is strong willed, some have a child that is very slow and steady, some have a child that is very inquisitive, some even have a child that is restless. They have different kinds of children. But the question is, do you love the kind of child you have? Have you taken time to accept the person of this child? Because if you do not accept this child as who they truly are, there's high tendency that your love for them will be conditional. You want to begin to learn to love your child and accept your child for who they are. I have 4 kids, and all of them are not the same. Not in their personality, not in how they even respond to things, not in how they love to do things, and all. They are quite different. And if I do not accept child A for who child A is, comparing child A with child B, at the end of the day, the child's self-esteem will be bad. Get tired of hearing, can't you see your sister? Can't you see your brother? You're always doing this, you're always doing that. And the child feel like, but this is me. So you then need to begin to learn to accept the kind of child that you have got. And the next is active listening. Many parents do not pay attention when their child needs their attention. The child comes back from school and like, Mom, this happened in school today, and auntie said this, auntie said that. In fact, mommy said this, mommy said that, and you're like, okay, I'm listening. And as the child is speaking, you're pressing your phone. You're pressing your phone. I'm hearing you. I'm pressing your phone. Just keep speaking. I'm hearing you. The child will feel disconnected. The child will be like, I think mommy likes to listen to, take time to listen to her phone than to have time to hear me out. And a child that does not feel heard by the parents will always have that love bank empty and will be opened up that love bank to be filled up by an outsider. And this is why they will feel you need attention. I'm here, I'm all ears. And that alone have bought their heart. And that can make them enter into snare that they never planned to enter. For you to show your child unconditional love, you have to pay active listening. Do not do passive listening. Do not do selective listening. But your listening must be total and be active. When it's time to talk, and it is in the quality attention you give to your child, not necessarily in the quantity of that you put rapt attention to every said and unsaid words that your child is saying to you. Number three, consistency. You can't choose to love your child from age 0 to 1 year or even to 2 years. And as the child becomes a toddler, you then begin to feel this hate towards the child. You just feel disconnected and feel like this child is crying too much. He's too naughty. This child is doing this, is doing that. Now, at that time, you begin to push the child away from you. And I began to just think through how it is that thank God for divine orchestration of my part, divine and orchestration. There's high tendency that I would from my children. And what do I mean? I realized that for my kind of person, I am not a people person like that. But for understanding and training, making me to then work on that part of me. And what this means is having a baby, you're happy, oh, I have a baby now, I'm happy, baby is growing, you're carrying the baby, hugging the baby everywhere. But as the child begins to grow, maximum to 2 years, you're beginning to feel nauseated about every little thing the child does. And you feel like, well, can't kill me. Oh. And any attention the child wants to get, you're not even there. You keep shouting, you keep yelling, you keep doing every other thing that is negative. And the child begins to learn all these negative things from you. I looked through and I was grateful that thanks to God that I was able to learn and unlearn all these negative traits for me to begin to imbibe the right things that is needed for my parenting journey. The truth is, parenting is a privilege for you to rework yourself because you already are a finished product. But most of the time, the finished product that we are is not I want to even say it's a semi-finished product because that product that you have turned out to be is as a result of the environment you grew up from, the people that raised you, or the people that raised you knew about parenting. So if they knew less about parenting, if they just did try and error about parenting, and that's how your life will turn out to be just a try and error kind of life. And there's high tendency that you will replicate the same negative traits to your child or children. if you do not relearn, unlearn, and learn new things that will help you. So it is highly important that you begin to be consistent in your loving your child all the time. Loving your child is something that you must consciously learn. You must consciously learn it. And learning it is that you compel yourself to be intentional about loving your child all the same. Number four, emotional support. Do you give emotional support to your child when your child needs one? Your child is crying, like, why are you crying? Keep quiet, keep quiet. Now that child, the best way the child can express herself or himself is to cry, especially toddlers. You see them going up and down, shouting, rolling on the floor, and just contributing some sort of nuisance, as we call it. But at that time, it's just for you to know that the child is passing through an emotion that the child cannot really express. So part of you giving emotional support to your child is for you to allow your child to learn how to identify the emotion that they are passing through. Happy, sad, frustrated, angry, and all of that. When you begin to learn, let them to understand and identify the emotion that they're passing through, you help them to label it. Oh, this feeling right now is frustration. You can start by putting the emojis of these emotions. At any point in time, your toddler begins to throw tantrum or do all of those things that we really do not like. Tell your child to point at how they are feeling. And over time, the child begins to understand that when I'm feeling like this is what it is. And you then don't deny the emotion. Because for you to deny the emotion of the child at that time is not to support the emotion of that child. But for you to validate the child's emotion, you must identify the emotion, allow your child to label it, and accept that emotion. It's valid, yes. And then you begin to help your child to navigate through the emotion gradually. This is why your loving your child must be an unconditional one. The next is forgiveness. What is that one thing that your child will do that you can never forgive? What's that one thing? If you have a girl child and a child, maybe you have a family value that sex should be only um should only happen under the confines of marriage, and your child engaged in premarital sex and resulted to pregnancy. How willing are you to receive that child back to yourself, that the child is not totally lost, even though the child have made a mess, but you want to help that child to gain consciousness back and do the needful. Forgiveness is one thing that God has never deprived mankind, and is one way we know He loves us. Is one reason why He said that even when you do not love your fellow, when you do not forgive your fellow human beings that have hurt you, then your heavenly Father will not also forgive you. So if your child is a human being, so if your child is not forgiven because of one thing or the other that they have done, be sure that even as you pray to God, goes from one thing to the other, your prayers will not be answered. Why? Because there's unforgiveness in your heart. You then need to begin to love in the God way, which is to say that God is forgiving. You must learn to forgive your child from little offenses to big ones. And there should be no level of offense that your child will commit that you can never forgive. And just like God, He is not willing that any should perish, but that all men come to Him in full repentance of heart. He's not glad that people are sinning. But at any point in time, when the wicked turns from his wickedness to be righteous, the scripture says all his wickedness will be forgotten. All right. So this is because he will not make a remembrance of all of the sins that he has committed in time past. Because the time of ignorance he has winked at. That's forgiveness. The next way to show unconditional love to your child is quality time. Quality time, time, we say. It's not about the quantity of time you have with your child. And it's not in whether you stay with around your child that would make us know that you're spending quality time with your child. You can be around your child and you still be absent. But it is in the quality of what you do with your child at every given point in time that you're with them. It is in the value that you give into them at every point in time that you're with them. What are you teaching them intentionally? What skills are you passing to them intentionally? What values are you passing to them intentionally? All of these are needed for your spending of time with them to be quality. If you just stay around them and you're just sleeping together in the same roof, under the same roof, going out, coming in, eating and sleeping and waking up, you aren't spending quality time with them. So for you to spend quality time with them, one of the things you must do is to do what? Is to ensure that you spend quality time with them. The next one is physical touch. One of the love languages that exist, according to Gary Chapman, is physical touch. You want to understand your child if everyone actually loves to be touched, only that for some, their physical touch love language is more than the others. And according to Gary Chapman, there are five love languages. There's quality time, there's physical touch, there's words of affirmation, there is acts of service, and there's one more. There's acts of service, there's quality time, there's physical touch, there's gifts. You want to try all of these on your children to be sure that this particular one is the love language of my child. You cannot ascertain this by doing it once. You have to have tried it over and over and over and over again for you to be sure that this actually is the love language of my child. And it's not just for you to say, "Oh, once I know that this is the love language of my child, I'll just be speaking only this one love language." No. But it's just for you to know that the child loves that more, but you should also speak the others. Now, every child loves to be touched. Studies have shown that babies that are well cuddled and played with, that we hug, that we kiss, that we play as little ones, when they grow up, they have emotional bond. They feel safe. They also grow having that good sense of connection. But a child that is deprived of this, when they grow up, the nemesis will show. You want to begin to intentionally hug your children. You want to intentionally kiss or peg them, as the case may be. A little warm hug in the morning and at night before they sleep is fine. A little peg on the cheek is fine. A peg on the forehead, fine. Making them to know that, oh, mommy truly loves me, daddy truly loves me. I remember when I started hugging my children, it was like tug of war. Why? I wasn't used to it. I never saw my parents actually doing this practically. Maybe if daddy and mommy would even hug themselves, it's occasional that I see. All right. So it wasn't something that I really was brought up with. But understanding the fact that children needs this and they need to know that you truly love them so that they don't go out there and begin to seek for it. I begin to then do this. I still do. Intentionally hug them before leaving the home. As I return from work, also hug them and ensure that I keep ringing into their ears. Mommy loves you, daddy loves you, and all. And jokingly, one of the days this week, one of my children said, "My mommy loves the baby, but mommy does not love us. She will just be shouting at us." I like, wow, mommy loves you. You see, if mommy is yelling at you sometimes, mommy is sorry about it, but sometimes it is also for your interest at heart. You can imagine that perspective, the perspective she already has about love at that instant, at that phase. The next is positive reinforcement. Reinforcement is a powerful tool that is needed to get your expected result. You don't want to do something once and pull back. And reinforcement is a tool that every teacher needs. And as a parent, if you do not know how to teach, you want to learn to teach. Because one of the powerful tools every teacher would use is reinforcement. It's repetition of what value you are giving to them. That repetition of the value you have given to them is highly important for you to stick. It's been few years now I've been trying to do the responsibility charts, the house chores responsibility charts and all in the home. But the only thing that is stopping me is that All right, network threw threw me off, but we're back again. All right, so just like I was saying, it takes the positive reinforcement, repetition of what you know that you want to achieve, consistently getting at it for you to get the best result. Not doing that positive reinforcement and staying on it till you get your results, and getting tired on time will make you not to get the expected result. You see? Now, selflessness is needed. We saw how God was selfless about putting himself behind the scene for the mankind at heart. Wanted to buy man back to himself. Now, selflessness is one thing you must learn if you must do parenting. You've heard some parents say, me, I have my life to live. The child also have his life to live. I will enjoy my child suffers or not. Meanwhile, you were the one that brought the child to the world. How then concern even be responsible enough to take care of the basic needs of this child? How then will you not give all the necessary support, necessary skills intentionally to that child? It's like meaning that you are failing at the point of your responsibility. The last way to love your child unconditionally is unwavering presence. Your presence in the life of your child must be unwavering. When the child has a function in school, you must make out time to be there. When it's time for one thing or the other that the child needs you to do for him, the child is sick, needs you to take the child to the hospital for treatment, you must be available. The child needs you to be there, maybe when they are doing graduation in school or PTA meeting and all of that. You should be there. Unwavering presence that when the child looks back, he can say, my mommy is there or my daddy is there. And you do not push the responsibility to only or one of the parents. And as parents, you must begin to work together as husband and wife, because the best way to get results in your parenting journey is when both of you parent together. Parenting together will help you both to achieve the vision in your heart, which is your family vision. But if it is one-sided, you are not going to get the expected result. As I conclude, you must be consistent with the love you show to your child. This is one key note you must not forget today. Your consistency in showing of love to your child is something that you cannot overemphasize. It's something that you must keep doing and keep doing and keep doing on a daily basis. How consistent are you in loving your child? Let me drop that in the chat box. How consistent are you in loving your child? If you are just joining us, we're already concluding. We want to you want to just show your presence. Let's know who you are and your name and where you're streaming from, so we can know you joined online. And you can also share this with your friends. You can also take time to catch the replay of this session. This is one reason why the replay will still be available on the YouTube channel. And if you are yet to also subscribe to our YouTube channel, you want to hit the subscribe button and also turn on your notification bell, so that should in case you are not even close to your phone or something, when we come up on live, YouTube can notify you and then you can quickly come to join us. All right. So we're concluding here tonight. Do not forget this one thing. Consistency in loving your child is one thing that shows that you love your child unconditionally. Those ways you have mentioned in how you must love your child unconditionally, you must begin to take them one step after the other. Ensure you gain mastery over them. And this is where we're stopping today. But I hope to hear from you. It's time for you to ask questions. It's time for questions and answer. Send in your question. Let's give attention to them. Send in your questions. Maybe you didn't get one thing or the other I said properly. You also want to send that, and let's attend to it. I give a few minutes to respond to that, and we'll call it a good evening. Yes, let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. Send in your questions. Are there questions from tonight's session of loving your child unconditionally? What new thing do you want to do from now? What new step do you intend to take? How well do you also want to love your child? How well? How well do you want to love your child? All right, it's a good evening from my end. And this is me saying thank you for coming up on board. Since there are no questions, we'll meet in the yard as we continue in loving our child unconditionally. And let me use this opportunity to say that the next cohort of parenting accountability support system pass is already opened for you to come and enroll on time in advance. The next session or the next cohort will be starting November 1st. You want to chat up this number on your screen in the chat box to know the further details that is needed for you to be able to enroll. You can chat on WhatsApp. Check up on us, ask from us what it entails for you to be able to enroll in the next cohort that is starting November 1st. And as you do this, start saving your money ahead so that you can participate. I also want you to involve all of your parenting support system, your teachers, your children's teacher, your children's teacher in church, and your spouse. Let them be part of this joint that as you are gaining knowledge, they also are gaining knowledge in this light. This is how well your child can turn out best as they should be. And this is me saying, thank you for coming on board. Bye bye for now. It's a good evening. It's my pleasure having you on board this evening. Bye for now.